Hey there, my name is Jeff Manchester from iZotope, and in this video, I'm going to be covering vocal mixing. Lead vocals, background vocals, panning structure. We're going to be using tools like Nectar, RX, a bit of Neutron, VocalSynth, R4 and Nimbus, two new reverbs to the iZotope family. The track that we're using is called What About Me, and it's by Lila. Check it out.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love?
So the first thing, we are in Pro Tools. You do not have to be to follow along. You can replicate anything that I'm doing in your DAW of choice, whether it's Live, Reaper, Logic, Cubase, FL, you name it. Now, the first thing I recommend that anyone does when anyone is about to mix anything, especially a vocal, is to listen to the vocal. I know it's tempting to jump in and add compression and bells and whistles, but doing a critical listening pass, keeping like a pad and pen nearby, take down notes for things that you might want to explore later on when you're mixing, but also listen for issues or problems that might have been introduced at the tracking stage. Stuff that might have gotten picked up by the microphone in the room, or things like the byproducts of a vocal performance. So mouth clicks, plosives, that kind of stuff. If you don't take care of that stuff now, it'll come up in level once you add compression, limiting, saturation. And besides, we want to be mixing when we're mixing, in a mixing mindset. We don't want to be repairing. So I took a critical listen here to several of the key vocal tracks and noticed a couple things. Let's see if you can hear what I heard. I'm going to zoom in here and turn off the processing on one of these important vocals, the pre-chorus vox. Let's see if you'll notice what I noticed.
Waking in the morning, I'm thinking about you. Losing more sleep as I...
Did you catch it? It's a mouth click. And this happens a lot when singers are doing a lot of takes. They might be dehydrated, or the microphone just might be like a large diaphragm condenser and just pick up all that stuff. Now, getting back to what I said earlier, when you add processing and boost the level, all the problems get boosted. Not just the tonal stuff, the voice, but also the noise. So I brought some signal processing in. Now listen to how much louder that click is.
Waking in the morning, I'm thinking about you. Losing more sleep.
Now you might think, Jeff, you're soloing the vocal. You're not going to be able to hear that click once everything else comes in. So let's unsolo the vocal, and you'll see how it makes it through.
Waking in the morning, I'm thinking about you. Losing more sleep.
All right, so some people, some listeners are very, let's just say, emotionally allergic to mouth sounds and clicks, and they might skip your song, so we have to deal with this. There's a couple ways to do it. I could throw a real-time plugin on the track. We make a tool called Mouth Declick in RX, and I could bring that in at the insert level right here in Pro Tools. But I actually prefer to take the vocal out of Pro Tools, bring it into the standalone audio editor in RX to see if there's other things that I'm noticing in the vocal. Because right now, I'm in a mixing mindset. I want to be in a repair mindset if I'm repairing stuff. And there could be things I'm missing just because I'm focused on getting this track mixed. So the easiest way to take this out of Pro Tools and into RX is to click here, head to Audio Suite, go to iZotope Inc., and then RX7 Connect. We're going to ferry the audio out of Pro Tools into RX, like this, on a repair trip. So we'll send that, and now we'll be taken into RX, where we can repair stuff with just one track. Now, for those new to RX, it's a bit like a photo editor for your audio. If you can see something, you can get rid of it. Now, time goes left to right in RX, frequency bottom to top, and brightness corresponds to amplitude. So louder things are going to be a little brighter in the spectrogram view, which is what we're seeing now. But of course, we can go to the waveform view like this, which you guys might be familiar with, or the spectrogram view, which I think gives you a lot more information to work with, especially when repairing stuff. So let's listen here for those clicks, and I can actually see them here because I spend a lot of time in RX going like little slivers of orange here. Have a listen.
Waking in the morning, I'm thinking about you. Losing more sleep.
And by the way, little icons, little images here will tell you what kind of problem that the module is going to solve. So if you're new to RX and you're wondering what do I use, the little icon is a pretty good indicator. So I'll go to Mouth Declick, click that open. Let's just go with the default settings here. Hit render. And right away, again, RX is super visual. We see those little slivers gone And by the way, if you still can't hear the mouth clicks after all the demonstrations, if I hit output clicks only and press preview, it's going to tell me just what the module is listening to. So I can press preview now that that box is ticked, and now we should just hear the clicks. So now you'll definitely hear them. And so there we go. Selection, hit render, and they're gone. So here's before.
On and I'm thinking about you. Losing
Here's after.
on and I'm thinking about you. Losing more.
Now I'm a little superstitious. If the clicks were here, they're probably elsewhere in this file. So I can either hit Command A and select everything, or if I deselect everything, RX will assume I want the entire audio event to be processed. So either way, you're good to go. I'm just going to hit render. It's going to go through the entire file and automatically and super transparently get rid of all and any mouth clicks. Remember what I said earlier, when you're in a repair mindset, you're just thinking differently. And in this environment, I can see a bit more clearly too. I'm seeing some little bursts here. Remember, amplitude corresponds to brightness. So this might be a loud thing on the low end of this vocal that I might want to take care of. It's probably a P-pop or a plosive. That's when air hits the capsule of the microphone. A word with the, the letter B or P or ch or p, something like that. So let's go in. Let's have a listen, see what that is.
Talk to me different. Prep my position. I'm ready to listen.
Okay, so not terribly offensive.
To me different. Prep my position. I'm ready.
But for me on that position at 208, I'm going to want to get rid of that because that's going to hit my compressor.
To me different. Prep my position.
I don't want it to. So I'll make a selection. Go to deplosive. Again, little icon with that little burst of air. Let's just go for the default settings. Done. Before.
Talk to me different. Prep my position.
After.
Talk to me different. Prep my position. I'm ready.
Gets rid of the plosive, keeps the integrity of the word. We don't lose any articulation. We're good to go. Now remember, this is a round trip thing. I wanted to bring it out of Pro Tools into RX, send it back into Pro Tools. To do that, I just go send back right here. And now we'll be taken back into the digital audio workstation, and it says hit render to commit the changes. I will do that. So I'm printing my changes that I made in RX onto the track. And now that we've repaired things, we can move on to mixing and be in a mixing kind of mindset. The next thing we're going to talk about is vocal mixing and vocal chains and signal processing on these three very important vocals, the pre-chorus vox, the pre-chorus echo, and the chorus vocals. My goal when it comes to lead vocal processing is to smooth, shape, and soften as much as possible. What do I mean by that? Level-wise, I want to use tools, if I have to, like compression to make sure that we have a smooth level, loudness-wise, across the vocal. I do welcome dynamics in vocals, and this vocal is certainly dynamic, but I'm going to be using tools to make sure that we maintain a pretty consistent level and that the quiet parts in Lila's vocal are maybe not right as loud as the loudest ones, but that there isn't too much of a difference between those two, because we need to hear all the words in the midst of this kind of busy mix where there's a lot of other things competing for our attention. I also want to smooth out and control for tone, and by this I mean I want to take care of sibilants, strongly stressed consonants. I want to take care of any resonant frequencies that might be annoying to the listener, especially as I bring the level of the vocal up with other processing. So those are the two things I'm looking to do. Let's jump into how I processed the main pre-chorus vox, and I'm using Nectar here at the top. Nectar, for those who don't know, is a Swiss Army knife for vocal processing. It has everything: delay, reverb, EQ, compression, saturation, a pitch module to give you some kind of auto-tuning effects. But I'm using here at the top, by the way, it's resizable. Drag it like this. I'm using an EQ, and this is to control for that tonal stuff that I mentioned. And the great thing about Nectar is a lot of these nodes you can assign different behavior to suppress tonal imbalances. So for this one, on node 2, you'll see that when I play this track, it's attached itself to a harmonic that I found to be kind of annoying, and it will follow it wherever it goes. Take a listen and have a look.
Feeling reunited. Options to be chosen. Devotion can't be broken.
I can make it static if I just click here and then uncheck this frequency icon.
Feeling reunited, options to be chosen.
Now that's not bad, but I want to make sure that I'm attaching this node so that it follows it throughout the course of the performance. And if I want to, I can bring it and attach it to another harmonic. So watch this.
Feeling reunited.
Drag it over here.
Options to be chosen.
Or to this one.
Devotion can't be broken.
All I'm doing is moving it left to right.
Were fighting flames at it.
So that's the first thing. I'm also doing a high pass right here just to cut out some mud. And I'm doing a little dip here at about 1K. And I feel like the combination of these moves is going a long way in reducing the level of that kind of tonal stuff that I don't really like frequency-wise. It was sticking out in my ears. Let's do a little before and after.
Feeling reunited, options to be chosen, devotion. Feeling reunited, options to be chosen, devotion can't be broken.
All right, so next up is the compressor. I'm using it in vintage mode. There's a couple different algorithms, optical, solid state, digital. I just like the sound of the vintage mode. And the great thing about this compressor is it's super visual. So I can see the gain trace of the signal before and after I compressed it. Before, it's that light gray, kind of ghosty gray color. And after is this white outlined gain trace here. And this is just making sure that we are suppressing any little spikes in her dynamic vocal and putting it into a suitcase. We got to kind of make everything fit and frame the vocal. So that's what the compressor is doing. Now next up is saturation. And this is just adding some lovely harmonic information. I'm using the tape algorithm. Let's have a listen to that. I'll stop talking and do a before and after in a moment. As I play this, we can see where some of the saturation's being concentrated here at 6K. There's little kind of flares showing up and some excitement in the bottom end as well. Let me do a little before and after.
Feeling reunited, options to be chosen. Feeling reunited, options to be chosen. Devotion can't be broken. Feeling.
Now you'll notice that I didn't add any EQ after I did these subtractive EQ. And that's because I found that saturation was giving me the kind of tonal boost that I wanted from an EQ, but just in a different tool. And that was a choice that I made as the mixer. I just didn't feel I needed to brighten anything up with an EQ, with a shelf or something like that. And it's giving me what I want. I'm happy with it. We've got the amount here to about 78%. And just so you know, any module in Nectar we can bring in a parallel kind of way. So just bring in some of the wet signal against the dry. We don't have to have it all the way at 100%. So I could bring this in at a very conservative level here, or at a very liberal level all the way up. Let's have a listen to what that sounds like as we introduce the wet into the dry here.
Feeling reunited, options to be chosen. Devotion can't be broken.
Now remember, we're still controlling across the line for tonal imbalances, and that's what the de-esser is doing. This is not a very sibilant vocal, but I like to have this here just to soften S's wherever I hear them. Now, let me use a little example here where I thought it came in pretty handy. On this line, I'll turn it off.
Devotion.
So on the devotion, not too sibilant. By sibilant, I mean strongly stressed consonants, that kind of thing. But listen to once we bring in the de-esser.
Devotion.
It just softens that S and makes it a bit more palatable for the ear. And of course, for the rest of the S's in this track, it'll be suppressing it in the same way. And if you want to know if you're in the right ballpark with your de-esser settings, hit this little ear icon. And this is a bit like output clicks only, like we did in the last segment with RX. This will show you just what the de-esser is listening to. So let's have a listen to that. So it's just picking up the sibilants. Now, It's a good way to let you know if you've gone too far. If I pull the threshold down too much, I guarantee we're going to start hearing the articulation of words and consonants and things that we don't want. So you can already hear the kind of essence of the word devotion there. And that's because the threshold's down too far. We're attacking stuff that we shouldn't be. Let's bring it back to where it's only picking up the sibilants. Perfect. So now we're not attenuating anything but the sibilants there. And the last thing I have here is a reverb. I'm just kissing it with reverb, and the mix is very low here, and that's because I'm sending this out to another reverb, but I just like to have a bit of reverb on an insert level just to soften things a little bit more. Let's hear what that sounds like. It's probably going to be very subtle.
Feeling reunited, options to be chosen, devotion can't be broken.
So you'll probably need headphones to hear that. It's super subtle, but it just gives the vocal a bit of a sheen. Now the next thing is the ALM, auto level mode. Really handy, but kind of unsung little processor here in Nectar. What this is going to do is additional level adjustment for me and make sure that my vocal is always hugging about -8 RMS and just kind of stay in there. And this is to make sure that the quiet words are as loud or as articulate, if you will, as the loud words. Let's turn this on and off as we go through the track here. Turn it off, a little diamond disappears. Turn it on, the diamond appears. So
options to be chosen, devotion can't be broken. We were fighting flames adding fuel to the fire.
So it just lifts the level a little bit and keeps it there. And that's another way that I'm controlling the level through compression and now with the auto level mode engaged. And I have a limiter here just as a safety to make sure that if she gets a bit too, hot level wise, we're protecting against that kind of overage. So I know that what I have here might be kind of challenging for someone who's new to mixing. You might be wondering, well, that's all very fine, but how do I set up my chain? That's kind of, I wouldn't know where to start. And there is a solution for you, and it's called Vocal Assistant. In fact, how I got this chain set up was through that same process. So let me open another Nectar. So now this is a brand new Nectar. I've turned the other one off, and you'll see that we have this tool called Vocal Assistant. I'll click that, and now it says, I'll listen to your audio and create a custom preset to fit your vocal in the mix. I'll check this box, press next. All I have to do is choose a vibe, vintage, modern. Maybe this is for like YouTube or a podcast. Just choose dialogue and an intensity. So how hard you want to make the processing move to conform to one of the vibes. Go with moderate. And what's going to happen when I hit next is Nectar is going to go through and listen to this vocal and assign EQ nodes, compression parameters. It's going to listen automatically for sibilants and assign the de-esser to target that area and give you basically a starting point. It's like having an engineer sitting next to you going, maybe try this. Here's a suggestion, and you can take it or leave it. You could tweak it, add more modules. It's totally up to you, but it's a really great way to get started with not just a preset, but a custom preset that is listening to what's on your track. So let's run it and let's get it over a loop that has some sibilants here. All we have to do is press next and hit play.
Chosen, devotion can't be broken.
So it's going to go through and perform all these tasks and tell you what it's doing as it does it.
Can't be broken. To be chosen, devotion can't be broken. To be chosen, devotion can't be broken. To be chosen, devotion can't be broken.
So if we go to accept here, we can see this custom chain set up for us, starting with an EQ and then doing some de-essing, another EQ, a compressor, and then some reverb. It's not too far off from the one that I had. If you remember, let's bring them side by side. I just made a couple different choices. So we started with an EQ, have an EQ, we have a compressor. I added saturation, but the de-esser's there, and so is the reverb, and the auto level mode is engaged. So this goes a long way to getting you started when you're figuring out what should I do first, compress, EQ, etc. Once you've taken care of smoothing and softening and just ironing out the creases in a vocal, so to speak, it's important to make sure that it pops in the context of the entire session. And one of the ways that we do that is by thinking about a concept called masking. And this is when you have things overlapping frequency-wise, and things are going to be kind of lost in the mix when that happens. It's a bit like a group photo. If everyone is standing in front of each other, you're not going to see everyone. Some things are going to have to move. People are going to have to sit down or kneel or whatever so that everyone can be seen. And the same is true of mixing, especially vocals. We want to make sure that the vocal is in the photograph, so to speak. So a great way to make sure that your vocal sticks out is to control for any masking that might be happening between it and another track that has similar kind of frequency content in the range that your vocal is in. So I've identified this Rhodes here as being pretty mid-rangey, and my vocal's pretty mid-rangey. So I want to make sure that these two aren't masking each other, and that the Rhodes, the keys track here, isn't louder than my vocal. I don't want that. So what I have to do now is go back to my Nectar, and you'll see that if we go to Vocal Assistant, there's this unmask option, and it says I'll carve out space for the vocal by comparing it to another audio track and correcting frequency masking. So I'll press next, and we have to choose a source. Where's the masking coming from? It's asking. Now, because of a protocol called inter-plugin communication, I can talk to other iZotope plugins in this session without having to go to them and click them and turn them on. I can do it right from this drop-down display. And what's the track that we had earlier? It was a Rhodes. So I'll go find Rhodes here. And the reason it shows up here is because I have a relay on the Rhodes track right here. And it's called Rhodes Relay, but we can call it Rhodes Relay Vocal Mix, for example. And if I go back to Nectar on that pre-chorus Vox, right there, Relay Vocal Mix. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, I think this track, this Rhodes, is masking my vocal. So all I have to do is press next. I'm going to solo them to make it super obvious what's happening here. Press next, play some audio. It's going to listen and then correct for any masking that it might perceive.
Can't be broken. We were fighting. Flames adding fuel to the fire.
Now let's go back to the relay, because now we'll see this unmasking pre-chorus Vox here. So what it's done is it said, the vocal is the star of the show. I'm going to listen for masking and then introduce an EQ that will push down any frequencies that are getting in the way of its intelligibility, of the vocal's intelligibility. So when I click this on and off, we should hear the vocal pop a bit more because the Rhodes has been attenuated in the area where it might have been masking our vocal. So have a listen as I go before and after here.
Can't be broken. We were fighting. Flames adding fuel to the fire. Praying, hoping, God come and save us. I'm hopeless.
So hopefully you can hear that. Get some good monitors, turn them on, or get some good headphones, because it's subtle, but we don't want to get rid of the Rhodes completely. We just want it to get out of the vocal's way, and that's what it's doing. One more time, hear how the vocal just kind of pops, especially out of that mid-range, but we still keep the kind of soul of the Rhodes track.
Can't be broken. We were fighting. Flames adding fuel to the fire. Praying, hoping, God come and save us. I'm hopeless.
So I'm going to leave that on. And there we go. We've just unmasked the track with very little effort. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about with the pre-chorus vocal, and that's what I'm sending it to here. We see bus 7, bus 9, and 10. On bus 7, I have a vocal compressor that I'm sending to, and it is the Ozone Vintage compressor. You might be wondering, Jeff, you have auto level mode, you have the compressor on Nectar. Why is there another compressor here? And I find that once you control for level fluctuations with those tools, the auto level mode and the compressor. You can add other compressors, not necessarily as additional dynamic range controllers, but just as things that give you a different color for the vocal, a different vibe. And this is a vintage compressor. It has a sound to it that I really like. And it's also helping the vocal kind of pop and be more articulate. I'm just sending a little bit of level to it. Let's have a listen in the mix to what it kind of brings to Lila's vocal. I'm going to turn it off and turn it on.
Feeling reunited, options to be chosen, devotion can't be broken. We were fighting, flames adding fuel to the fire, praying.
So again, it just has a sound that I like. I went with forward mid-range as the preset here, and it just worked for what I was doing, and there's no more rhyme or reason to it than that. The next thing we have here is bus 9 and 10, and where's that going to? 9 and 10 is Nimbus. Now, Nimbus is an incredible reverb from Exponential Audio, which is now an iZotope company, and if you're a little kind of taken aback, if you've never seen this before, there's a lot of parameters and controls in this tool, but it's really easy to search for something that you want depending on the activity that you're pursuing in your mix. If you're mixing vocals, go to the keywords, hit vocal, and then you'll see that we have hundreds of presets. In fact, if you go to all presets here, and now you can see that there's thousands, and this is just a good way to start. Go to the preset, tweak it from there. You can even do a bit of a Google search, if you will, and just type in vocal, and then everything vocal wise will come up. And that's what I did. I went to vocal, and then I went to tiny vocal plate dark, and this is just giving me a flavor that I really like. This is kind of a wrapped vocal, so I don't want to add too much reverb, but I do want to polish it and just lift it up with a little bit of time-based effects. The effect might be subtle, but let's do a little before and after here on the send so you can hear what Nimbus is bringing to the table.
Reunited, options to be chosen, devotion can't be broken. We were fighting, flames adding fuel to the fire, praying, hoping God come and save us. I'm hopeless. So
the other thing I just want to say real quick is that this is a dark reverb, and by dark, we're pulling out some of the high-end frequency-wise from the early reflections. And we're also pulling out some of the high-end from the reverb tail. I find that nowadays there's a lot of darker reverbs in modern music, like The Weeknd and stuff. We don't get these splashy, bright tails anymore from reverb. So you can go in and control the extent to which the high end makes it into those two aspects of the reverberant signal right here very easily, or just look for the word DRK, dark, next to whatever preset you're using. And I just find this kind of fits in with the vibe of the song and the vibe of a lot of music today. Let's go to the pre-chorus echoes, and these guys are just complementing Lila's vocal.
We were undivided, feeling reunited.
Here they are in the track.
We were undivided, feeling reunited.
So pretty simple here. We have Nectar. We're just doing a high pass on this track just to cut out some of the fundamental frequency. I don't want too much articulation from this track. The real star of the show is the pre-chorus Vox. I am sending it to echo effects here, and on that bus, pretty wet, is R4, and this is the kind of more musical reverb compared to Nimbus, which is very clean and digital. This one's a bit more analog style and lush. And classic backhaul preset, vintage was the keyword that I searched from. And again, we're doing a dark reverb here. And I just find that it just fits, again, with the vibe. Let's do a before and after on that.
Feeling reunited. Options.
Let's bring it in.
We were undivided. Feeling reunited. Options to be chosen.
So it just gives us a good vibe, I think. And also, I'm bringing up the tail width to wide here. Turn the tooltips on, by the way, if you want to know what any of these parameters do. So as I bring it to wide, it'll tell me that it'll control the width of the reverb effect, but also make sure you're not going too crazy when you go down to mono, that things don't collapse too much. But I just like the sound of the wide tail width, and so that's why I have it all the way to the right there. Let's keep moving to the next vocal, which is the chorus.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love?
Now, as I open this up, you'll see that all I did was actually just copy and paste my settings from the pre-chorus Vox onto the chorus Vox, doing the same moves, compressor, saturation, reverb. We're sending them to the same sends, that vintage compressor from Ozone, sending it to Nimbus, and there's a tape delay, which I'll talk a little bit about at the end. But basically, I'm giving it the same treatment that I would the other lead tracks, the pre-chorus Vox. All right, now before we jump into background vocals and panning structure and special effects, let's just do a little before and after to see the difference that Nectar, Nimbus, and R4 make to the overall composition of these important lead vocals. So I'll turn everything off and then turn everything on. Let's start with everything off. All the Nectars, all the buses.
We were undivided, feeling reunited. Options to be chosen. Devotion can't be broken.
And here's the chorus.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you?
All right, so it sounds like somebody in front of a microphone. Not very exciting. And here things are with the effects in.
We were undivided, feeling reunited. Options to be chosen. Devotion can't be broken.
Here's the chorus.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love? What about you? What about me? What if I leave? What would you do?
All right, let's talk about the all-important background vocals and how to pan them, because I know that comes up a lot. People are wondering where should they pan things in the stereo field, and also how should they process them. So let's cover those two important questions. So there's a lot of background vocals, maybe not as much as you get in a much larger session. This is, I think, a manageable amount, so I'm happy about that. We have Nectar on these tracks. You'll also notice we have Relay again making an appearance, and we'll cut to that in a minute. So I'm using Nectar here, and we're not doing too much crazy stuff, a high pass, and we're also going to boost here to brighten things up with an analog high shelf. That's consistent across the other background vocals too, with the exception of the one that I have VocalSynth on. So EQ, compressor, and then this dimension module follows too. And let's have a listen to this track here before and after I added Nectar. So here's before. Let's turn the verb off as well. I'll talk more about the verb in a moment.
We were fighting to the fire, praying.
So here is Nectar and the background verb.
We were fighting to the fire, praying. God, come and save us, I'm hopeless.
So you might notice there's a kind of flanging effect. I really like that on background vocals and sometimes on lead vocals, just to give the ear something to, I don't know, get excited by. So if I go into Nectar 3, I've got the EQ, the compressor, this dimension module, we've got chorus, flanger, and phaser. These are essentially time-based effects. And we hear them a lot in certain genres and with certain acts. Certainly, you know, someone like Tame Impala, we might hear them on. And it just gives something different about them. And it also helps to smooth them out, I find. A lot of people like to throw chorus on guitars because it just helps them kind of breathe in a mix. Same thing with background vocals, I find. Let's do a little before and after with the dimension module. It's probably going to be subtle.
We were fighting to the fire, praying. God, come and save us, I'm hopeless. We were fighting to the fire.
So I just find that it smooths things out there's something about it that gives it a kind of airy kind of vibe and feel. And it's all about just what sounds good and what feels good after you've controlled, again, for the tonal and level irregularities, if you will. So I've added the chorus onto most of these background tracks. I just like the way it sounds. They're going to a background verb, which is being sent out from this bus. And what's on the background verb? R4. Light vocal touch. We've talked about this plugin before and its cousin Nimbus, so we'll just close this. And let's talk about panning, because there's two vocals here that join right before we hit the chorus.
We were fighting, flames adding fuel to the fire, praying, hoping, God come and save us from hopeless.
And here they are in the mix.
We were fighting, flames adding fuel to the fire, praying, hoping, God come and save us from hopeless. So what about me? What about you?
Let's get back to why the relays are on these tracks. They're on the tracks because they're sending information, again, through inter-plugin communication to another tool from iZotope that I really like, called the Visual Mixer, which is on the master bus. So you'll notice in the Visual Mixer, we have left to right panning, so left and right, and gain is up and down here. So we have, minus 60 dB and plus 10 dB. And right now, my relays are right here. Again, we're sharing information across plugins. And this is like a soundstage for your mix, where you can position things in the stereo field, as opposed to going to the fader and turning it up and then turning the pan potentiometer to the left or the right. You can just assign the vocals anywhere you need them to go. So let me get this on a loop just so you can really understand this concept. And let's play with the high pre-chorus Vox, which is right here.
We were fighting, flames adding fuel to the fire, praying, hoping, God come and save us from hopeless. So what about me? What about we were fighting to the fire, praying, save us from hopeless.
So you're kind of like an air traffic controller in a way. And I've got my first background vocal here on the left, and then the other one here on the right. And I've got other inter-plugin communication compatible plugins in the Visual Mixer right now, but we don't see them because I can turn them on and off via this little eyeball. So they can appear or disappear just to unclutter the screen and let you focus on what you're doing. So again, I've got my vocals here on the left and right. And if I want to audition different kind of panning structures, all I have to do is save this as a snapshot. And then, for example, I can bring these guys super wide and maybe save that one as another snapshot. And maybe we can go really narrow and loud in the third snapshot, like this. Now I can toggle between these different ones as the song plays. Let's do that.
We were fighting, flames adding fuel to the fire, praying, hoping, God come and save us from hopeless. So what about?
So you can try different scenarios, different structures. It's up to you. I'm going to go back to my A panning. And you can also, by the way, control the width. You can add a bit of a stereo effect here by just dragging these little bars out and in. So we've also got more background vocals here that appear during the chorus. And we can see them too in Visual Mixer. Let me just solo them. So they're called chorus layers. Here, 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 and here. Let me turn these guys off because I don't want to see them right now. So I've just decided that I want one to be a little bit quieter on the right side, a little bit hotter on the left side, and then another layer which I felt was a bit more prominent in tone. And we also have one that I'm deciding to put right here in the middle. I just like the way that it sounded. But again, you can audition different scenarios. It's up to you, and then save them and try them as you go instantly across the mix. Let's hear what that sounds like once we get everything else involved.
What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love? What about you? What about me? What if I leave? What would you do? What would you think? What would you say? What about me? What about you? What about trust?
So you'll see as I played that, we introduced a new vocal that I haven't talked about. And it's this sci-fi vox here. So this is just to add a little bit of flair, a different vibe, a different feeling to keep people's attentions too as we get to the end of the chorus. And it sounds like this.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love? What about you? What about me? What if I leave?
But let's add it into the mix now, and I think you'll see that it's got a welcome place in this session.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love? What about you? What about me? What if I leave? What would you do? What would you think? What would you say?
Let's talk about what's on the track. We have an EQ from Neutron, just doing a super high pass here to cut out a lot of mud. And the star of the show is VocalSynth. So for those who have not played with VocalSynth, it's like a crazy set of tools that you can combine, mix and match. We have vocoder, CompuVox, TalkBox, Polyvox. These pay homage to classic vocal processors, but we have new ones in there too, like BioVox, which is actually a tool that is inspired and modeled after the human vocal tract. So you can bring in things like breathiness and nasality. And the great thing about this tool is that I can mix and match these guys and bring them in to taste, and I can control them from the animation in the center of the screen. There's also a bunch of stompbox style effects here, and I am using some of them: distort, transform, delay. And I'm also using a really important and maybe also unsung feature in this tool, which is the gate. And this is really important for choking or making sure that the noise floor doesn't get through when the singer is kind of idle and not making any noise, because VocalSynth is very sensitive. It will pick up background stuff and process that too. So to make sure you're just processing the vocalist and the noise floor, the background stuff isn't leaking in and getting synthesized, you'll want to use this gate. Let's go through each aspect of VocalSynth and get a loop going so you can hear what it's kind of bringing to the track and what the combination of settings is imparting on the dry vocal, which sounds like this, by the way. We bring the mix slider down. This is nothing, no processing at all.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love?
And here is the process vocal.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love?
And we can have the best of both worlds if we want. We can just bring this halfway down, right?
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What?
So first we have the vocoder. This is kind of Daft Punk style. Let me turn these guys off. Turn off the delay, the transform, and the distort as well. Start with the vocoder.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love?
So then I brought in the talk box.
What about me? What about you? What about trust?
And I found that kind of softened things up a
What
bit.
about me? What about
And then Polyvox.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love?
And then I crunched things up a bit with the distort module.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me?
And you can mix these into taste too, parallel. They're all up at 100%. And then I brought in transform.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love?
And then finally delay,
What about me? What about you?
which just lifts the vocal a little bit. Its mix slider is down at about 20 here. I didn't want it to be too soupy. There's 100. Let's bring it back to 20. And here's the important thing, the gate. Let me bring the gate all the way down so it's not doing anything.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love? What about you? What about me? What if I leave? What would you do?
So it's picking up those breaths in between the vocals. I don't want that because that stuff just sounds kind of funny. So I'm going to bring the gate up.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love? What about you? What about me? What if I leave? What would you do?
So that just makes sure we get a nice clean process vocal and we are not kind of synthesizing unwanted vocal byproducts and things like that. I also have on this track one of my favorite plugins. It's not an iZotope plugin. It's called Pan Man by Soundtoys. It's just going to pan this vocal really easily. I mean, I could automate this myself, but it just takes 2 seconds. So it's kind of moving left and right in our ears, which is kind of fun.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love? What about you? What about me? What if I leave?
And here's everything in the mix.
What about me? What about you? What about trust? What about me? What about you? What about love? What about you? What about me? What if I leave? What would you do? What would you think? What would you say?
I want to show you something that's going on across all the vocals. I'm sending all the vocals you'll see here to this thing called Vocal Bus, from the lead vocals to the layers and background and all that stuff. And this is, again, to control for any tonal imbalances, because what's on that vocal bus is a tool called Sculptor. And I'm using it here in the standalone component plugin, but if you have Neutron standard, you can open it up there as well. And what this is doing is this is like a last safety to make sure that we are suppressing any imbalances tonally so that we have a nice, smooth vocal sound across all of the vocals. Sculptor is a multi-band compressor that is split into many, 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 many bands, and it's gently and carefully attenuating if you want it to, or boosting. But in this case, we're attenuating and controlling for any kind of sourness or resonant frequencies. And again, just as a last kind of safety before everything gets mixed in. So everything is running to this guy. You can open the presets here. I just went to vocal control because that's what I wanted to do. Control the vocals. Very simple. And if I click, I'm going to open this up and boost this a little bit.
Reunited option.
And you can see it's identifying areas that it wants to suppress and suppresses them when they come up. We can increase that effect.
We were fighting flames that infuse to the fire, praying, hoping God come and save us. I'm hopeless. So what about me?
And we can also mix this into taste, again, in a parallel way.
Reunited options to be chosen. Devotion can't be broken.
Sculptor is just my last chance to control for any vocal anomalies tonally before we make it to our stereo bus. So now what I want to do is go through some special processing, some effects, things that I do that you might want to do to the vocals to keep the listener engaged and delighted and surprised. Now, the first thing might not be so surprising if you've heard pop over the last 30 years, but people like it. It's reverse reverb, and it introduces Lila's track at the beginning here. Have a listen.
We were undivided.
So this is a very easy effect to create, but I'm doing some things to it that kind of take it to another level, so it's not just reverse reverb. If we look at the track here and solo it, you'll hear a couple things. You'll hear Pan Man, which is just shifting the sound across the channels left and right. We also have this going to a reverb and a tape delay as well after it's ended, just to keep it kind of ping-ponging in our ears as Lila opens up her verse. So take a listen. So the delay with the Pan Man gives us that kind of ping pong effect. So if you want to know how to make an effect such as this, I've created another lane down here. And what I'm going to do is just steal the first kind of chunk of the word here from Lila.
We.
And copy it down here. And I'm going to click to extend the length here. And you'll see why I'm doing this in a moment. I'm going to go now to Audio Suite. I'm going to find a reverb that I like. And there happens to be one in the Exponential Audio folder, R4, very lush musical reverb. Large Hall works for me. And I'm going to go and increase the reverb time. And now press preview. And that's what I want. I want a nice long decay time. It's still going if you turn it up. So I'm going to render that. And now what I'll do with my selection still active is go to Avid and then go to reverse. And you can do this in your DAW and then hit render. And now we've flipped it. Nice long tail. I'm going to just shorten it here. And you want to line this up with your ears and your eyes. Let's have a listen.
We were undivided.
Not bad. I can go here and turn up the clip gain to make this effect a bit more audible.
We were undivided.
If you want, you can kind of tinker with this to make sure it lines up kind of perfectly or imperfectly, whatever sounds good. So that's how you create the reverse reverb sound, by getting a long tail, flipping it, and then lining it up so that it matches the beginning of the first word. So I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to show you how I got some of the effects on the reverse reverb. So you'll notice that after she finishes her kind of reverse sweep, it delays for a little bit after that. So what I'm doing is I'm automating a send, and we'll go down here, level, and you can see this little bump here. That's because I'm automating this send on the tape delay. And the tape delay is Nectar 3's delay, which sounds wonderful. And we've got some eighth notes here. We're using a tape algorithm. We're modulating a little LFO action there, and it just sounds really good. And the mix is up at about 69. And we're also doing a bit of a band pass to make sure we're not too dark or bright. We can just kind of tailor the delay sound to what we like. If I open this up, you can see it has a very different kind of quality. To me, that's a bit too bright, so let's just narrow the bands here so we don't have a splashy delay effect. That's better. And of course, Pan Man is just taking us left to right to keep it interesting in the ears. Let's do it one more time in the mix.
We were undivided, feeling.
The last thing I'll show you here is that I'm doing a similar technique as we leave this chorus and go into the second verse. Have a listen for that delay at the end of Say.
What about you? What about me? What if I leave? What would you do? What would you think? What would you say? Waking in the morning, I'm thinking about you.
So again, very simple. I'm going to go to my chorus track here. It's also being sent to the tape delay, the same one that I used on the reverse reverb at the beginning of the song. And I'm automating its send as well, as you can see right there. So this just comes up right at the end just to spike that last line so that it ping pongs too.
What would you think? What would you say?
I decided not to pan it because I just felt like we just didn't really need it at that moment. Whereas at the beginning, there's less going on, so we can actually perceive the panning a bit more. Here, it's a little crowded, and I just felt like it wasn't totally needed. Let's have a listen to that effect once more in the mix.
What would you do? What would you think? What would you say? Waking in the morning, I'm thinking about you. Losing more sleep as I lose it for you. Thinking about.
So, in your own mixing, especially with vocals, find ways to make them interesting. Find ways to elevate them. I know the flanging and stuff, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but when you introduce that stuff in the background very subtly, it just gives movement and lift, and I think some interesting moments for the listener as they go through a song. It's important to always keep the listener in mind. And why not engage them with fun processing once you've, again, controlled for level and tonal imbalances? Just have fun and just bring some stuff in that keeps the track, interesting. That concludes this mixing tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. For more videos like this, hit the little bell icon and subscribe to our channel to be notified of when we upload new stuff, and we always do. Head to iZotope.com to download a free trial of anything, literally anything that you saw in this video. You can replicate with our tools at home in a session that really matters to you. On our website, we also have ear training tools like Pro Audio Essentials, blogs, tutorials, other videos too, so make sure to go there. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.
What would you say?